everyone, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new, welcome. My name is Olivia and I am a proud mom of 2 children living in New Jersey. So today I want to come on here and talk to you guys about my experience with 2 under 2. Now mind you, my oldest, my son Owen, is turning 3 at the end of August, so I only have a few months left of him even being 2 years old, and my daughter just turned 1. So I'm officially out of the 2 under 2. So I felt like it was appropriate now to tell you guys my experience from beginning to end. And the reason I want to do that is because after I had my son, I was debating on having another. My husband was ready for a second one, and I was a little skeptical because I'm a stay-at-home mom and I didn't know if I could handle it. So what I did was came to YouTube and I found one of the women I love to follow. Her name's Olivia Zappo. I listened to her video of what her experience was with 2 under 2, and after listening to that, I was inspired and I felt like I could handle it. So I wanted to come on here and talk to you guys in hopes that maybe just one person will watch this video and feel the same way I did after watching her video. So let's get right into it. So my daughter was born last April in 2023. And my son at that point was 19 months old. So my kids are 19 months apart. So I know that there are that's not as short of a gap as some people choose, but for me that was a pretty short gap. My son has been quite a bit delayed with his speech. So at 19 months, he was not yet verbal, not yet communicating. He wasn't using nonverbal gestures. He wasn't pointing. So it was very challenging. And if I'm being honest with you guys, which I can share in a different video, we are still in the process of trying to get him up to speed with his communication skills. So long story short, we welcomed our daughter into the world while our son was quite a bit delayed in that area. So instead of having 2 under 2 where one can kind of understand and communicate and wave what he wants and express his needs, he wasn't at that point yet. So it was really challenging when we first brought my daughter home because we had 2 that did not communicate at all. We had 2 that cried just for everything because they had no other means of communicating. And I remember when we had early intervention come out to help us with our son, she had said that the best way I can think of it was that I don't have a toddler and a baby, I have 2 babies. And that was a really hard pill for me to swallow because my son was almost 2 years old when we had them come out, and it just made me feel like we were stuck in this baby stage with both of them for that much longer. So I wanted to give that as the groundwork to kind of explain why the beginning of 2 under 2 was so hard for me. And I'm not going to lie to you, the first year was tough. And I want to say that because whenever I would talk to my friends about having 2 under 2, my friends would always tell me, do it, because going from 0 to 1 children is a lot harder than from 1 to 2. And for me and my husband, having 1 child, since we wanted him so bad, was not challenging to us. We felt like actually having 1 was a lot easier than we had anticipated. So we were like, oh, this is great. Parenting is perfect for us. We'll have a second one and there won't be any change at all. And let me tell you, once I experienced having 2 under 2, I kind of got annoyed with those friends who had told me that, because for me, and I know everyone's different, for me, having 2 under 2 was extremely challenging. But like I said, I think a big piece of that was because my son was so behind with communication skills. So for the first 6 months of my daughter's life, we really were just working 24/7 around the clock with my son to try to get him up to speed with communicating. We felt that if we could at least get one of our children to communicate their needs, it would make our life a lot easier. So we had early intervention come out. We worked with him. We shut the screens off in our house. And I did feel like it took away a little bit of that newborn experience with my daughter. But I would guarantee that every mother feels that way when they have their second one, because you're being pulled constantly. You don't have time to just snuggle up anymore with that newborn baby and get those newborn cuddles. You're now trying to snuggle a newborn while feeding a toddler, while letting a dog outside. We have a dog. While doing all these other things. and it just brings multitasking to a whole new level. So the first year itself was unbelievably challenging for us because of the lack of communication. We were very relieved when our daughter did start to get older, 9-10 months, seeing that she was actually waving at people and pointing at things, because our son had never done those things. So we were a little, we didn't realize when it was the first one that the order of things that they go in. So when we saw, after experiencing our son, we saw our daughter start to meet those milestones a lot quicker. We felt a lot more relief. And our daughter now at 13 months is fantastic at communicating her needs. She uses some words, she points at everything, she waves, she blows kisses. So we are feeling very good with that. So it's nice that we have her to communicate her needs, and my son's also doing a lot better as well. So the first year of 2 under 2, if I were to describe it to you, it's hard. And I think it's hard even if you don't have a child who's delayed. I think it's hard in general, because as parents, we want to pour all of our energy into our children. And now, instead of giving one child 100% of our attention and love, we have to divide that up. So it makes it that much harder, because you don't want either of your children to feel like they aren't as loved as the other one. So you're always trying to stay ahead and go 110 for 2 people now. So just anticipate, if you're thinking about having 2 under 2, just anticipate the fact you will feel guilty the first year. You will feel guilty that, feeding your child now is not an intimate experience. It's not a relaxing experience and bonding time. Really, it's just, here's a bottle, let's go. It's always go when you have more than one. And the first year is just challenging. But the silver lining for me with 2 under 2 was around that 10-month mark. I noticed that once my daughter started moving, my son started showing a lot of interest in her. Whereas up to that point, I'm telling you, I kid you not, he did not care if she was here. He didn't acknowledge she existed. She was here. He'd hear her cry. He'd hear her fuss around, but he never showed her any attention. But the second she started moving around this house, he all of a sudden was like, oh my God, hey, you're my new best friend. Because ever since then, I feel like they are each other's best friends. They are each other's number one ally, number one company. My kids are great. They don't really argue with each other or fight with each other or bicker or wrestle. They're really great with each other. And I know that when one of them is not here, the other one misses them. So once I hit that 10, 11 month mark, it became so much easier because they were now each other's best friend. It was no longer my job to entertain and be a circus monkey for 2 children, but they now had each other to kind of lean on and entertain themselves with and play with. And I really enjoyed that. And honestly, it's probably been the most rewarding and enriching parts of parenting for me. I am a stay-at-home mom to both of these children still. My son is still quite a bit delayed, so he will be starting pre-K in September. And I'm honestly a little nervous because my daughter loves having him home. So the idea that we will go back to just being me and her, while I'm excited to have that bonding time, I think it's going to be a really hard adjustment for her when he's not here. So, but yeah, 2 under 2, would I recommend doing it? I would recommend it. However, I would just keep in mind that, which as you can imagine, it's not easy. And I'm telling you, it's not easier than going from 0 to 1. Going from 1 to 2 is hard because you can only spread yourself so thin. And those 2 little children don't care how thin you're spread. They will keep pounding at you. So, I watched, I think it was a TikTok once, where a woman had said she had 4 children, and someone must have asked her, like, why would you do that? You're crazy, 4 children? And she said, the younger years is tough, but think about when I'm an older adult, how nice it's going to be to have a family, a big family at my kitchen table. And I think about that because we're actually on the fence of having a 3rd one or not. And I think about that, and I think about how hard, like, how could I even do 3? I can't wrap my head around that. But when I think about the fact in 20, 30 years from now, when I'm in my 60s and 70s, and I imagine what my life is like, and I see a bunch of people there. I see my children there and their wives and husbands and their kids, and everyone running around the backyard and everyone enjoying their life. And I know you can do that with 2 children, but I feel like it's such a gift to have children and to be able to give them a good life, that it's really hard when they're younger and it's a really big struggle. But if you can work through those years, when we're older, we're all going to reap those rewards and benefits, because your hearts can never be too filled, in my opinion. So that's my take on 2 under 2. I know that I kind of went back and forth with you guys, and there's a lot of variables in there, like my son's delays and my daughter being born early, and we have a dog and all these things. Every family is different and every child is different. So you do what's best for you and your family. But from my perception, if you are pregnant with your second one, or if you're debating on having a second one, just anticipate that first year might be challenging. But once you get close to the end of that first year, it will be the best feeling in the world when you see your kids interacting with each other. I'm telling you, best feeling in the world. But like I said in the beginning of this video, I hope one person watched this video and say, wow, Olivia really helped me decide what I think is best for me and my family. I hope so. Because like I said, Olivia Zappo here on YouTube, you can search her. She just had her 4th child, but I watched her 2 under 2 video and I was a little apprehensive. And after watching it, I was like, you know, I got this. So ladies, gentlemen, you guys also got this. And I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for checking me out. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.